Hi guys! Welcome to my review of Pretty Little Liars episodes 7:15, In the Eye Abides the Heart, and 7:16, The Glove That Rocks the Cradle. I missed my review last week, so I decided that I would just do a double review today and put the two episodes together because there's a lot of stuff that kind of crosses over from one episode into the other that I want to talk about. So I have to say, my last PLL review, which was obviously episode 14, I said that I felt like it was the best episode that they'd put out in a long time and that it had really upped its game, and I feel like that consistency has been kept up over the past couple of episodes. I'm really relieved about that because we are on the home stretch. We only have like 3 or 4 episodes left to go now, so I do hope that they manage to keep up that sort of ridiculous level of like drama and intrigue for the last couple of episodes. But yeah, I have felt that 7:15 and 7:16 kept up that momentum that they set in 7:14. First, before we talk about anything else, can we talk about the ridiculously creepy Snapchat filter-esque method of contact that Aria is having with AD? I posted about this on Tumblr. Tumblr is obviously my new obsession, as if I don't spend enough time online. It'll be linked in the description box down below if you want to go check it out, but I did post on that some screenshots of how ridiculously creepy this Snapchat filter thing is. I'm calling it a Snapchat filter because I don't know what else you want to call it, but it's ridiculously creepy. So the Aria stuff is obviously really kind of probably the main focus of the past couple of episodes. The fact that she is now in cahoots with AD. I've now got a sort of idea in my head and I don't really know. I think I'll wait. I'll talk sort of more generally about some of the things that happened in these episodes, and then I'll tell you when I'm about to kind of talk about my theory that I now have, what the end of the show is going to be and what it's all going to turn out to be, that I've kind of been developing in my head since 7:14. So yeah, the fact, I'm just so disappointed in it. And the weird thing is that for ages I've wanted Aria to be involved because it's one of the biggest fan theories is that Aria is actually involved, maybe not necessarily the actual big bad guy, but has been involved in some way, shape or form. In the Eye Abides the Heart episode, it was bad enough that she was already kind of doing AD's dirty work, so you know, going to the school and going to the locker and all that. But in 7:16, what she did to Emily and Alison's baby's room was just absolutely unforgivable. I don't care what you have done or what you've got yourself into to do something that twisted and messed up to a baby's room, and it's like your friend's baby's room, is just like, that's a low blow. It made for a very tense couple of scenes in the episode. So she said she's going with Ezra to the kind of PR thing for the book, which I thought was a bit of a risky game because if, like, obviously they were all going to be occupied, you know, Emily and Alison were going to be at the school and, you know, they all had their places to be. But it would be very easy for someone to turn around, like someone who had happened to be there, to turn around in front of the other girls and say, oh Aria, how come you weren't at Ezra's, you know, book launch or whatever it was. So she was playing a risky game with that, but obviously at this point now she's in a sense of absolute desperation, which I will kind of unpack in my theory later on. But yeah, so I thought they made for some very exciting scenes, but how do you come back from that? Obviously all the girls have done things in the past that haven't been ideal, and they've, you know, had moments where they've kind of done something that's inadvertently betrayed one of their friends or that has accidentally led to one of their friends getting in trouble, which actually there's something that they've done in 7:16 that I'm so glad they've finally done, because as a Spencer fan, as you all know, I'm a big fan of Spencer Hastings. This was something that I felt needed to be addressed at some point. When it turned out that Spencer had drunkenly signed the receipt at the Radley for Rollins / Archer Dunhill's credit card, obviously that was a big mistake, and it was something that she did that could potentially lead to her and her friends, or like certainly her and Hannah, going to jail. So understandably the girls were a bit peeved, but Hannah having a go at her at that point and snapping at her, just, that really riled me. So I was so relieved when it dawned on Hannah, when Spencer had kind of said, look, I'm really sorry, but I was absolutely wasted at that point. I had gone and like written myself off. I had far too much to drink, but it was because I was so upset and I was in such a bad way. And you see Hannah kind of twigging and being like, oh, okay, I'm kind of responsible for that. So that scene when Hannah and Caleb were talking about it, and Hannah had already had a go at Spencer and then realised why Spencer was in the state that she was in and why she made that slip up. And then Hannah's talking to Caleb and saying, I have to do this for her, I have to help her, because the only reason that she was in that mess was because of us, because of what we'd done. And she finally addressed the fact that she gave her blessing and she said, go for it, you know, you go and start a relationship with Caleb, and you know, if you've got feelings for him, then you have to explore it and see how it goes. And she said that, but all the while was still harbouring these like intense feelings for Caleb. And then obviously very quickly after that, her and Caleb got intertwined again, and that led to Spencer basically confessing her love to this guy, saying that she wanted to be with him and that she really cared for him, and him basically like sleeping with her for a few weeks and then being like, oh, I'm really sorry about this, but like ultimately still in love with your best friend. So I know that a lot of people who are obviously big Caleb fans were annoyed at Spencer in that situation, but for me as a well, I was a huge Caleb fan as well, but as a fan of Spencer and as a fan of the friendship between Hannah and Spencer, and then a fan of Hannah and Caleb's relationship, it was really frustrating for me watching that, because I was like, you don't just turn around and say, like, you have to be honest with your friend, and if you still have feelings for that person, do not give them your blessing to start a relationship with them and then have them end up with their heart broken because you can't bear to see him with anyone else. So yeah, I was very proud of Hannah for realising that and deciding that she had to do something about it and that she had to try and help Spencer, because if there hadn't been that awkward love triangle scenario, Spencer probably wouldn't have written herself off. She would not have made the mistake of using the wrong credit card and signing her name on it. So I enjoyed that scene when Hannah and Caleb went to kind of try and find the slip and get it destroyed, so it would basically take away any evidence of linking Spencer to him that night. Sorry about the light, guys. Sun's just decided to go away. What can you do? What can you do? Summer in Scotland. But yeah, so I enjoyed that scene. I thought that was good. It was very tense. I'm jumping about from episode to episode here, I realise. Obviously it's another one of these situations where it's like, oh, you're so relieved that they're managing to kind of destroy the evidence or whatever, or they're trying to destroy the evidence, but you know that to the police it's going to be so incredibly obvious that just for that 10-minute sequence the camera's shut off, and who would have had access to it, you know. It's all of these things that in real life would not happen, but you just have to, you know, suspend your disbelief. So back to the previous episode, I liked the scenes with Paige and Alison actually. I liked when Paige went round to Alison's house. I know a lot of people were saying, because I will put my hands up and say that I actually thought this too, the first clip with the Aria Snapchat filter conversation, I thought, is that Paige? Because there's just a couple of moments where as the camera kind of tilts a little bit, the hair looks as if it looks like Paige's hair. So for a couple of moments I did actually think, oh my god, is she on the other end of this conversation? I've now decided that I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that she's AD and I don't think that she's involved. I've already said that I'd be really disappointed if she was anyway, because I don't think that makes a massive amount of sense, but anyway. But yeah, I did actually really like that scene when Paige went round to see Alison and basically said, look, I'm really sorry that this has happened to you and that you're going through this, and then kind of just tried to push her to admit that she loved Emily, because I think that that's something that's never actually been made 100% clear. Obviously I think the Emison fans have been very invested in this for a really long time, but I don't think they've ever actually made it crystal clear whether or not Alison's feelings for Emily are 100% genuine, or if they were kind of born out of a desperation for attention that Emily would always give her, that she wasn't necessarily getting from other people. But I feel like that conversation with Paige was actually quite a turning point for the character. I think it was a good moment for Alison, because it was kind of forcing her, someone who like had always been very upfront and honest about their feelings about Emily, like Paige, kind of forcing her to say, look, you need to be honest with yourself about this and you have to be honest with Emily about it. I thought that was really nice, and I thought that was a very good scene. All the Lucas and Charles stuff, again, I'm kind of glad that it's been hinted at in that last episode that actually Lucas is not AD. I never thought Lucas was AD. I never had that vibe. Emma and I called him Creepy Lucas because he did do a lot of creepy things in the past, and there were moments like when he was out in the boat with Hannah that we will never get explanations for, and it will always be weird, but I did always get the vibe that he really, really cared about Hannah and that he wouldn't actually do anything genuinely to hurt her. So the comic book thing, I think that's quite interesting actually, with the second comic book that they'd made that never got finished, or that Lucas had made and it never got finished, that AD's kind of basing their end game plan around that sort of general idea of turning that revenge into a game kind of thing. So I thought that was quite a nice way of tying all that in together. Okay, so now here's the bit that we have to talk about. Ren Kingston's appearance at the airport. If that's the only scene of Ren that we get, I'm going to be fuming, because I know Julian Morris is super busy and he's working on Hand of God and he's got a million and one other things to do, and so he wasn't available to do a massive amount of filming. But I thought that he was back for one episode. So if he's back for one scene, that's going to really annoy me. I was so excited when he appeared. I have to say, the one thing that I would say that they should have done that they didn't do, and it's weird because most shows are careful about this, but if you've got a returning guest star and it's supposed to be a shock, or at a moment that like people aren't supposed to expect it, usually they don't put the person's name in the credits at the beginning. They usually leave it till the end, and so after the episode's aired you've had the shock of them being there, and then the minute the episode's finished it'll come up and say special guest star. In this case it would be Julian Morris. In this case they put Julian Morris's name in the credits at the beginning, and so if you are paying attention to that then you see it. And so obviously I saw it and was super excited because I was like, oh, this is the episode where Ren's back. And then obviously like most of the episode passed by without him actually appearing. So I think it would have been more effective to not mention his name at the beginning. That's just me nitpicking, but yeah, I was very excited to see him. The Spencer and Marco stuff is just becoming so complicated. Why does she always end up involved with police people? I mean, I know she was involved with Toby before he became a policeman, but that just creates so much extra drama. Do you know, actually in the past couple of episodes I'd actually quite liked the relationship that was forming between those two characters. I thought because of all the stuff with Yvonne dying and Toby being left on his own and all that, I knew that they weren't going to rush into like putting Spencer and Toby back together. I always ultimately hoped that they would get back together eventually, but the scenes with Spencer and Marco, I was actually like, do you know what, you guys are quite cute together and I could probably get on board with this. But of course that's all gone to pot now. It's weird because obviously he has to do his job and he has to investigate her, and it is now very clear that the girls are involved in Roland's disappearance, or as they now know, his death. It is really not difficult to work that out despite what evidence they do or do not have from Spencer's behaviour. It's pretty clear. And when she said at that point, I'm gonna go and see him and like talk to him, and you know, he cares about me, so hopefully like I can get him to drop it kind of thing, I was just like, oh, don't like. And was it Ali that said, or was it Ali that said don't overestimate people's feelings for you or something like that? I think it was Ali that said that. And at that point I was thinking, you're right, because this is going to backfire horribly, because basically what you're trying to do is kind of not quite blackmail, but like sort of blackmail a policeman using his feelings for you to make him let you away with murder, essentially. Which, like, Marco, for all that he seems like a nice guy, is obviously very dedicated to his job, so he's not going to just turn a blind eye to this just because he fancies her, do you know what I mean? So the interview situations and the questioning and everything that has been happening so far with Spencer at the police station, it just, you know that none of this can end well. I suppose what she's now able to say to him is like, oh, I was at your house late at night. You know, is that really appropriate? And you know, it just feels like they're digging themselves deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole that how on earth are they going to get out of? Okay, so now I'm going to go and talk about my theory for what I have now settled on, I think, for what I think is going to be the end game situation. So if you want to hear that, then keep watching. But if you do not want to hear any potential theories, then I would advise hitting the pause button now. Leave me a comment in the comment section down below to let me know what you've thought of the past couple of episodes, and do give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I hope that you're having a great week, and I will speak to you again soon. Switch off now. Okay, great, so you've stuck around. I've been avoiding theories actually for the past few weeks because I used to watch loads of theory videos, and I used to like go through them all trying to kind of pick up little clues and hints and stuff. But I've actually been avoiding it for the past couple of weeks, and I've been avoiding hearing other people's theories. I've had a couple of people say to me that they have a theory for what they think the end result is going to be, and I've avoided hearing it. Basically, I just kind of wanted to have a chance to kind of come up with something on my own that I think I'm satisfied with, and it is based on very well-known theories that are flying around on the internet at the moment, so it's not like I've come up with this all on my own, but I just wanted to have these past couple of episodes to kind of come up with something by myself, I guess. So the way I'm standing at the moment, what I have kind of come to the conclusion of is that the Spencer twin theory is real. I think it has to be because the Spencer and Ren at the airport moment doesn't make any sense. Not only is there no reason why Spencer would not, if there's any connection to Ren in this, if Ren has any connection to what's going on with AD, they're at the point now where the girls are in so deep they've got to be upfront with each other unless they're Aria. And so I don't really see that there's any reason why Spencer wouldn't tell the girls that Rain was there or that she was visiting him. I also don't think, from what we've heard recently, that Spencer has been in contact with Rain at any point. There's been no mention of her being in contact with Rain, and I don't really understand why she would be. And the fact that the person who approached Ezra and was like, oh, hi, so you know, this catching up with Rain, would you believe we just ran into each other kind of thing. The fact that they asked Ezra to not tell anyone, Spencer wouldn't do that. At this point, if, you know, as I say, they're in so deep and Ezra is Aria's fiance, I really don't think that there's any way, unless she thought that the girls knowing about Rain, unless she thinks that Rain is AD, at which point I'm sure she would have like alerted the authorities or, you know, told, well, maybe not, you know what they're like, but she maybe would have told somebody, I would have thought. So unless she thought that any contact with Rain was putting the girls in actual danger, there's absolutely no explanation as to why she would tell Ezra not to tell Aria. Surely if she'd been caught chatting to Rain and there was a reason to be secretive about it, she would say to the girls, I'm really sorry, just to let you know, I met up with Rain, this is why, you know, end of. Instead, she, whoever she is, has said, don't tell the girls. So I think that the Spencer twin theory is right. There's been a few moments in the past couple of episodes where Spencer has had conversations with people that it just hasn't felt quite right. And I don't know if I'm only thinking that because I've now got invested in the Spencer twin theory. So I guess what we always thought in the early stages with A, before we found out that A was Charlotte, was, or what a lot of people thought was, that Ali had a twin and that Ali's twin was jealous of the life that she'd had and whatever, because PLL is twin obsessed. So what if, instead of Ali having had a twin, and Ali is obviously the daughter of Jessica, so Jessica and Mary were obviously twins, so what if instead of Ali having a twin, it was actually Charlotte who was involved in the first half of this game? What if Spencer had a twin and for whatever reason at birth that baby was not given to Peter and Veronica Hastings and they took Spencer and that baby went into care? There was talk when they were trying to find out who Mary Drake's baby was, before they found out that it was Spencer, that there was a paper about the baby being sort of taken into sort of like the childcare services getting involved, which never ever happened with Spencer because Spencer was literally born for 5 minutes and then passed to Veronica and they took her home. So what was that paperwork about? That paperwork doesn't really make any sense. So what if that's what the situation is, and there is a twin that Spencer has, and she has been jealous perhaps of the life that Spencer has had, and that is why she has sort of decided to torment the girls. The Aria situation, I'm thinking maybe Aria did kill Charlotte, because we still don't know who is responsible for Charlotte's death. Maybe it was Aria. I honestly can't think of what else Aria could have done that would be so bad that would make her betray her friends like this. So obviously AD's got these files on Aria, and we've seen all these things in the past with the doctor notes where she's got a client number where the rest of the girls didn't. And the Iceland thing, there's always been questions about, were they really in Iceland or was she taken away for some sort of therapy? The fact that that's probably never been referenced when obviously the girls have been through so much does seem a little bit strange, you know, especially considering that her parents, you know, have talked about Mike's need for, you know, therapy and his anger management problems and stuff. You would think that maybe at some point it would have been referenced that Aria had them too. However, we've seen lots of instances in the past where Aria has lost her rag, she's smashed things up, she's lost her cool. There has been implications in the past that A, Aria possibly has some sort of personality disorder, and B, Aria has a problem with anger management. So these things have been hinted at and discussed subtly in the show throughout the past, and then online obviously people's theories have very much focused in on that. So Aria was the only one of the liars who stood up at the court case and said that she did not want Charlotte let out. The other ones all went, oh, okay, well, you know, she's redeemed herself or whatever. Aria's the only one who stood up and said, absolutely not, I'm not on board with that. There was a question of her alibi. So she was out of the Radley at the night that Charlotte died. She was with Ezra for a little while, but there were still like question marks over all of that. So I'm wondering if there is a way that Aria killed Charlotte and AD, I know that AD's big thing was AD wanted to know what happened to Charlotte, but I'm wondering, see, so much has happened at this point that I've forgotten half of it. I feel like I'd need to go back and rewatch all of this to remember it, but A.D, I know, wanted to know what happened to Charlotte, but I'm wondering if it was Spencer's twin, then Charlotte would be her cousin. So I wonder if maybe there was an element of this Spencer's twin seeing Charlotte as a sort of like kindred spirit, someone who had been rejected by their mother and hadn't had the life that, you know, Spencer ended up having, being adopted by the Hastings. So maybe there's an, I'm saying cousin, it would be sister, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would be sister. I'm saying cousin, nonsense. It would be her sister. And so yeah, there might be a sort of rage of Charlotte, who maybe they saw as a bit of a kindred spirit, having been abandoned and having this terrible life and not being properly taken care of, and then ultimately dying. If they've then found out that it is Aria who did it, I don't know how they would have found that out. There's so many question marks. But if they did find out that Charlotte was killed by Aria, then what better way to not only punish the girls but particularly punish the person responsible would be to basically blackmail Aria into being the person who ultimately ruins her friends' lives. Because whatever it is that Aria's done, she's obviously not, like, she, at the end of the last episode, she was sobbing on the couch. She's obviously not wanting to do this. She's obviously not got some like twisted mind where she's like, oh yes, I'm gonna really take joy out of ruining my friends' lives. This is really difficult for her. I still can't get past the fact that she did that to the baby's room, but you know, this is something that's really difficult for her, so it has to be something really bad for her to be willing to betray her friends like that. So that's the point that I'm at the moment. That's kind of my theory at this stage. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, if you think that there's any sort of possible merit in that. As I say, I really do feel like the Spencer twin theory now has to be true, because that scene with Rain, either that or like Spencer's up to some shady stuff that we didn't know about, in which case I'll be very sad because I love her. I also just wanted to add that I think Troy Bellisario did an amazing job directing 715. I think that I was really excited to see it because I love her as an actor and as a human. I think she's great, and hearing her talk about the experience of wanting to direct and then getting the opportunity to direct, she was obviously so excited about it, and I think that the episode was really good. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. If you guys have any theories or whatever, please leave them in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you think. And yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up to let me know, and if you haven't subscribed already, there will be a button on the end card and there's one in the description box down below, so you can go and hit that to keep up to date with all of my videos. I hope you're having a great day, guys, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye!